actually the only FDE on the onboarding side, so I guess I'm the de facto lead. Yeah, and so we're a very tiny, lean go-to-market team, and there's a lot that we've been working on the go-to-market side to help up-level the customer experience that we deliver. And so I wanted to introduce you to our newest hire to the onboarding team, Joey, who just recently joined as an agent to help us do all the wonderful stuff that we do with our inbound funnel. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So for anyone who hasn't heard of AssemblyAI, how many of you have, by the way, actually heard of us? Okay, nice. Every time I go to a meetup, there's like one more hand, so good progress. So we work on voice AI infrastructure. So we don't just provide models, we're also the infrastructure that these models run on for several of our customers. So we work on the async and streaming modalities mostly. So for async, you know, if you've ever had a Firefly's note taker join your meeting, they use our speech-to-text models to do the transcript, to do the summary, and all the kind of other stuff that comes after that. And same on the streaming side. If you've ever used Granola and you're like, oh man, what did I miss in this meeting that I zoned out in? You know, that's our model that's doing the real-time transcription. And if you've ever used Cluely, hopefully not to cheat on the job interview, but if you have, then that's our speech-to-text model. So we have incredible demand for all these unique use cases for voice AI, and the real problem that we had was just the sheer volume of API signups that we had to manage on the onboarding side. We have well over 1,000 API signups a day, and as much as I would love to talk to all of them and get them through our funnel and get on a call to learn their use cases, that's just not sustainable. There's only so many hours in the day. I would like to sleep and log off sometimes, so we needed some help. So the main problem was, you know, we were drowning in this inbound volume, and so we wanted to try and deflect. That's the natural, you know, intuition that you want to do is, you know, are all of these inbound leads actually worth talking to? Is there questions that I can deflect using a bot? So we procured one off the shelf with our support system. And it helped. As you can see from the bar behind me, it only resolved 10% of our queries end to end. So 90% of these still went to a human. It either went to me from the sales side, or it either went to our support team on the support side. So there was definitely a gap that we needed to close to actually get some time back and still make sure we were serving our customers well. The other problem was we couldn't iterate fast enough to fix it. So if we saw that there was a bad conversation with a customer, we couldn't ship a change to the prompt. We couldn't change the tools it had access to. We couldn't change its RAG infrastructure. It was all completely closed off to us. So we needed control, and we needed to make sure that we had our own roadmap for like how we really think about self-serve engineering at Assembly. So that's why we built Joey, the newest member of our support team and our sales team. So we built him from the ground up on the Claude Agent SDK. So he actually lives in this like perpetual 24/7 instance on Railway. And he's the first line of defense for literally every way that you can get in touch with support or sales. So if you reach out to our support at AssemblyAI.com or sales at AssemblyAI.com, or if you actually go on our website right now and use our chat widget, you're going to get connected to Joey. So that way he's the first line of defense for every conversation that comes in, and we can actually start to make sure that we deflect everything that's coming in on the support side, on the sales side, and do some really cool things with that. So he actually remembers like past conversations, so you can remember things that you brought up before about your company, your integrations, all that good stuff. So you can actually start to use him more like a long-term co-pilot or like a true FDE at your company. And the other cool thing is, because we're using the Claude Agent SDK and he runs on this instance, he has access to a file system. So if you write into Joey and you're like, hey, something weird happened with my transcript, like I don't know what's going on with this, can you help me debug the Python? He can actually run Python locally, debug the script, test it, and then get back to you. Because he's running as an agent in the cloud. He's designed to help you with everything on our API. So there's a couple things that went into the architecture. I'll actually show you a little bit of like how he works, and of course go on our website and try and talk to Joey and give me feedback afterwards. One of the things that's unique to agents is they really like to have parse markdown. They don't like to go and like screw up your website. There's info that they can miss. There's things that they have to interact with. So every single time that we push an update to our docs, we make sure that we check it out as markdown and we give it to Joey. So that way that he has all the latest context anytime we make a change to the docs. So that anything that a human sees, Joey's also seeing in real time and he can give up-to-date information on. The other thing was making sure he was responsive enough. Obviously, it's one cool thing if he can go and like work on a long task like debugging or troubleshooting or something like that. But if you just have a very simple question, you know, how do you use this parameter or what's this model name, you want to make sure it's very quick with the retrieval. So we actually used hybrid search for this. So we work with Voyage AI to embed all of our docs to do semantic search. We also use BM25 as a way to do keyword search. So effectively, we're going and looking across the docs, embedding the user's query and seeing, you know, what resources are most most relevant to them and which ones should be serviced. And the great part is, because we're shipping it on Railway, which is a product that a lot of our go-to-market team loves for shipping apps, we don't have to manage the infrastructure. So any single time we push an update to the repo for Joey, he goes live to all of our customers across our website. So there's nothing else that we really have to maintain. We can just focus on coaching him up and making sure he's effective, and Joey handles the rest. So I'll give you a quick overview of kind of like how he works and the things you can do with him and kind of how we built him. So the interesting thing with checking all this out, is we check all the docs out in Markdown, so he has this in his local file system. So even if he's not able to do retrieval, he's able to search the file system using the command line, so he can go and find something related to pricing or a change log or SLA, and like deflect a lot of those common questions around like policies or data retention and things like that. The other thing that we've recently given him is pricing. You can negotiate with Joey. So if you want to chat with him about how much usage you have at Assembly, he can offer you a rate. If he doesn't feel comfortable giving you the rate, he'll escalate to me, and then you can chat with me about your pricing. But these are kind of the things that we've been building into him to help deflect a lot of the very common conversations we have with customers, and really train him up on the exact conversations that I have every day. And he just is served up as a Docker file, so this is some way that we can just run him in a container. We can manage the dependencies ourselves, we can change integrations, and we really have a lot more control, especially when it comes to changing this giant Claude ND, to give him tools and instructions and make sure he has all that good context. So anytime you go on our website, you'll see this little chat widget in the corner that I'm running locally, which is a way that all of our go-to-market team usually tests things. So you can interact with him locally and use this widget if you're on the go-to-market team at Assembly. It has these common bookmarks and actually has a live integration with the status page. So if you're getting like a 500 or something like that, this is actually pulling from our live status page to deflect those common questions before you even have to talk to Joey. But in general, he'll introduce himself because he's pretty polite from my experience of interacting with him. But, you know, hey Joey, how do I build a voice agent on AssemblyAI? So before, you would probably just wait for about 15 to 30 seconds and he would just paste this huge amount of text and you wouldn't really know what he was doing in the meantime. So as you saw there, he was able to do thinking. He would tell you he's searching the docs, that he's actually looking something up. So it's a much better experience because you know the agent's actually listening to you and doing something. And as you saw, we're able to stream the response, so you get a really, really fast time to first token, and it feels responsive when you're getting this type of help. And all of this is sourced from the docs in our pricing page, so he blends all of that information together into a really well-crafted response that's trained on previous responses that I've given to customers and other people on our go-to-market team. So you can see, you know, hey, here's some code samples. This is like the minimum session config I'd recommend, a couple different other resources, and things like that. And we can also measure his latency. Cool thing with the model being Claude is that it's multimodal. You can also send him screenshots and be like, hey, I see this error in Python. I have no idea what's going on. And Joey can take a look at that as well and help you debug. So this has been a really cool experiment for us and something that we've been able to build. And so probably the question that you're wondering about is like, well, what did this do for AssemblyAI? Like, is this even a good experience? But in the first week that we deployed him, completely vibe coded using Claude Code, our escalation rate, or our resolution rate, I should say, went from 10% to 80%. So now Joey, end to end, without ever having to escalate to a human, answers 80% of all of our inbound contact sales and support queries, which has really been amazing for not only freeing up my bandwidth, but also making sure that customers get really fast, really good 24/7 support. A lot of people tend to like game these metrics sometimes because they're actually like, oh, he does 80% well when you only give him these type of questions, which is not how Joey works. We unleashed him to all of our customers through all of our channels, so he is 100% the first touch thing that you'll interact with, regardless of how you try to get in touch with AssemblyAI. And generally, all the escalations that he's doing are for the right reasons. Maybe it is like a red line to our terms of service, and we love Joey, but he's not a lawyer. We shouldn't be having him negotiate red lines with you. If you want to do like a live pair programming call, he's not capable of that yet. But one of the cool things, since we work at a voice AI company and building a voice agent API, is we're going to give Joey a voice very soon. So you'll be able to call in to a number at any point and get real help. And eventually, we'll probably give him an avatar. So if you want to book time on Joey's calendar, you can do that. And the great part about his calendar is, since there's many Joeys, he always has time, and he can always chat with you. So there's going to be some cool parts to it. And we do all of this for under $1,000 a month. We're basically about half of that. And so you can imagine what we were spending before in just time with our support engineers, with myself, just to answer these kind of boilerplate questions. And now that we can see every single chat that Joey has and everything that he manages, we get this really great list of things that we need to improve about our self-service experience. And he really contributes to like the feedback loop at our company. So if we notice that he's not answering questions about a BAA properly, or he's giving incorrect pricing, or if it's hard for him to find a specific model, it's probably hard for a human to find that information on our docs too. And so it gives us really good signal of stuff that we should be improving about our API experience, about our documentation, and just making things easier to find out. And so he really contributes to the team, not just only in taking on this workload of talking to so many people, but he's also giving us feedback on exactly what stuff is hard to find and things that are not agent friendly, which is really the world that we're headed towards. So if there's any takeaway I had to leave you with, it's that you should build your own Joey, you should hire Joey, you should try and experiment with doing this, whether it's for an internal agent, which we also have at Assembly that is kind of out of the scope of this talk right now, or if you want to introduce it to your customers and have it be another resource, like find ultimately what your go-to-market team repeats every single day that they spend so much time on, and just give an agent the context of how you want it to deal with it. Like Joey, we built in 1 week just talking to Claude Code, where initially I asked it, what do you think I do at AssemblyAI? And like, what do you think I spend the most time on? And that's what the basis for our Claude MD was, hey, it looks like you talk to customers a lot about this, and it looks like you talk with them about pricing and all of that good stuff. And so you can give a context on your work, connect it to the right tools, all the systems that you use, and especially if you give it a sandbox, it can do really incredible things with MCP, with running stuff locally. It can run benchmarks for customers. Like giving it that infrastructure makes these agents so much more powerful in being able to do tasks that typically would require a human. And then don't feel, like you have to get it perfect. It's always like the ship fast mentality. We shipped this in 1 week, and sure, the first week was a little bumpy. There were things that we needed to coach Joey on. There were things that we needed to correct. But ultimately, he was still saving us time from day one. And the great part about deploying on Railway and doing this with Claude Code is if we see that he had a bad conversation or if a customer was unsatisfied, we can go into Claude Code. It has all the context of how Joey works. We can ask it, why do you think Joey got this wrong? Iterate on it, change the Claude MD, and then ship a new version within about 30 seconds. And so everyone on the go-to-market team can monitor what Joey's doing, can improve his capabilities because we're able to vibe code so well and ship these updates. So I would just encourage you to experiment with like what this agent SDK is capable of, and then also make sure that don't spend time on stuff that doesn't matter for your customers. Make sure that they're giving them the best experience possible, and sometimes that's not always with the human. So yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed meeting Joey, and thanks for having me.
So we do 2 questions. Yes.
Great talk, loved it. What stops users from using Joey as a free LLM proxy?
Yeah, so guardrails are really fun to work on. We didn't have too much of a problem with that, surprisingly, in the early days. Like if you provide a really robust Claude MD, we initially found that if there were things that he wasn't comfortable answering, he would deflect and tell the user that, like, that's not what I meant for, I'm a support bot, this is what I do. There's also a safety filter that he goes through for every response that does have some other guardrails and like manual checks where he's not evaluating himself and his confidence level, but we're checking like, is he leaking internal information? Did he use a tool he wasn't supposed to? Did he try and call some, CLI that he wasn't supposed to? So there's other checks that you'll want to have in place, but surprisingly, I found that compared to other LMs that we work with, if you give Claude very clear instructions on what its scope is and isn't, it actually obeyed them really well. So we've had people try to do that, where it's like the infamous example of like getting a Silverado for like $1 from Chevy, if anyone saw that. Like people have tried to do crazy stuff, and Joey holds the line. He does a pretty good job. So he won't help you with your homework, but he'll help you with assembly.
Cool, great presentation. Voice agents, yeah, so I was wondering, you're gonna give voice to Joey soon. Are customers implementing like SDR type scenarios with AssemblyAI in a similar fashion to like Joey, or could you double click into that for me?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very common use case. Voice is really one of those other ways that it's just a faster way for humans to interact with these agents. And so, one of the common, bots and things that people build are voice agents is, either SDRs or customer support bots or like drive-through use cases, especially where it is like that first line of defense. And, you can go above and beyond and have it escalate to a human to have a good experience, but more often than not, you'd probably just rather talk to a good agent. And so, yeah, I think that's what we're really interested to dog food and test ourselves by building it in. But yeah, we've seen plenty of our customers doing that.
Next up, we have Scott from Exa.
Hey, can everyone hear me?